Hi everyone, my name is Adam and welcome to my channel. If you've been here before, welcome back. I wanted to do a quick little video on delays, and I'm going to do another one on reverbs. And what I'm actually going to do is I want to make these shorter, because everybody has short attention spans. So I want to make these a little shorter, so I'm going to do these in like a 3-part thing. So I'm going to do delays, part 1, part 2, part 3 maybe, and same thing with reverbs. And I'm gonna go into a couple of different techniques that I do with delays and reverbs, just kind of keep them short, like 5 minutes or under. I'm working on an electric guitar video right now. It's a little bit more encompassing and a little longer, kind of like the cajon and the vocal and acoustic guitar ones. So it's gonna be a little longer and more in depth, but I'm trying to pick away at that one. So let me know what you guys think in the comments below. Here's delays, part 1. All right, everybody, so let's get started on part 1. I am going to be working on the session that I did with Boyce Avenue recently, the cover of the Police song, Every Breath You Take. I did some kind of cool delay stuff on that song. I did some stuff on the vocals, and I did some stuff on the acoustic guitar. I'm just going to go over the acoustic guitar stuff in this one, and the next one I'm going to talk about the delay I did on the vocals, and I'm also going to show some delay stuff on another song that I had mixed with a different artist. And then in part 3, I'm going to go into some more advanced techniques within automating the feedback of the delay and the volume of the delays in order to obtain some kind of groovy, kind of some interesting effects that can fill in some interesting ways. So let's get started on the acoustic guitar. So here's the session. There's a lot of stuff going on, and as I've mentioned before, the monitor gets a little laggy with QuickTime when I'm screen recording. So I'm going to play a little bit of the song so you can hear it.
Every breath you take.
Okay, so as you could hear when I paused for a second there was some delay on the acoustic guitar, which is what we're going to be working on. Let me scroll down to the acoustic guitar. All right, there it is. So to make things kind of simple here, I'm going to get rid of everything but the acoustic guitar. So I'm just going to hide everything else. So we just have that on our screen and we don't get confused with anything else. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to solo the acoustic guitar, and we're just going to listen to that for a second. All right, so you can hear I've got a ping-pong delay on that, and that simply means that the delay is in stereo and it's going left and right and alternating left and right. I don't usually use a ping-pong delay very often, and it's very rare just because it's a very stylized type of delay, and it's really gotta fit the vibe that you're going for. And in this particular instance, I actually really liked it when I tried it. So I want to kind of go through just the beginning, the basics of getting a delay going. In this case, usually you've got 2 options to use a delay. You can just put a delay directly on your audio track, or you can set it up as a send to an aux track. Now there are benefits to putting a delay directly on the track. A lot of times for me, if it's a percussive type of instrument or something that just happens very randomly, where I can just quickly put it on there, dial up some settings and just let it go, instead of having to go through the whole thing of setting up an aux track for it, a whole send for it, sending it to it, and things like that. So say if it's a tambourine slap and you wanted to just put like a trail delay on it, you could put the delay directly on the track. And a lot of times I'll put reverb directly on the track, because the reverb that I put on the tambourine is usually not a reverb I'm going to use for any other instrument. I don't really want to set an aux just for that reverb, so I'll just put it directly on the track. I'll adjust the mixed output to it, so there's a dry to wet a setting and I'll just dial that to how I like it and just kind of set it and forget it. Same goes with other percussive type things that are like that, where maybe it's a small part and sometimes it's just easier to maybe throw a reverb or a delay directly on the track. It's not something I do that often, but there is times where it can be an easy, simple process and sometimes work a little bit more effectively. In this case though, I did not do that. I have sends going to the delay and the reverb. Not going to really get into the reverb. I've gone over that in a previous video on my acoustic guitar stuff, but I do have the delay going through a send and I'm going to show you that. Now, in order to get a reverb send going, all you need to do, go into track, new, or you can choose to use a shortcut, which is a lot faster, and then you create stereo, aux track, and then hit create. Now, I don't usually set up any mono aux tracks for my sends or my reverbs or my effects. So in this case, I've created the aux track. Now I'm going to delete the one that we made, but if this were a setup, which I've already set the acoustic delay here, but if this was a new setup, then you would just go into your subgroup, into where you want to send it, and then you would select guitar delay. So I'm going to delete this track, and then I already have a send to it right here, which is acoustic delay, which I've already labeled. Let's get rid of that because that's just in our way. A couple of things that I did differently on the acoustic guitar in general was I actually added a little bit of distortion, and I used this Decapitator by Sound Toys, which is actually a really cool sounding plugin. Let me just play it for you and bypass it a couple times. All right, and I'm going to mute all the effects. Okay, so that's bypassed. Let's add it. So you can see it gives it a little bit of a growl, a little bit of grit to it. I didn't really have any rhyme or reason why I added it to it. I just kind of was looking for interesting things to do with this guitar. Thought about doing it, and it ended up being one of those things where I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. I'm just going to keep it. Ended up keeping it. I'm also running the same thing onto the delay aux track itself. So as you can see down here, I'm actually running another one on the delays. So the delay actually has a little bit of grit as well. So my acoustic track, let me get this guy out of here because I'm not using it. So my delay track consists of the repeater, which is a Stephen Slate plugin. I've got a little bit of EQ on it, just rolling off the low and the highs, which in truth I'm doing on the Slate plugin as well. You can see my filter here and here. It's kind of doing the same thing. So this is almost redundant and probably isn't really doing much. I probably put it on, didn't really realize I was doing it on the Slate plugin as well. And then the last in there is that Decapitator. I'm adding a little bit of grit to that. And we're adding just a little bit of that reverb that I'm using on the acoustic to the delay track. So the guitar is going through here. The delay is then feeding into this track. And then we've got the delay going a little bit into the reverb and kind of gives it just a little bit more depth to it with the reverb on it. One thing that's a little bit different though with the delay distortion and the subgroup distortion is that the subgroup I have the mix set to about 50%. If I added a little bit more, it would probably be a little bit too much. I want it to be subtle. I don't want it to be too overbearing. So let's listen to the delay. I'm going to mute it. You can kind of hear it trail off, and it's going left and right in a ping-pong fashion.
Every bond you break, every step you take, I've been watching you. every single.
All right, so it kind of fills in some interesting space in the acoustic, kind of thickens it up a little bit. It is pretty subtle, but it adds some character. One last thing is the acoustic delay itself. You can see down here, I have automated the send a little bit. So in the chorus, I dip the delay a little bit, then I fade it going into the bridge. And the bridge is a little stronger strumming, you can tell by the waveforms. I've dipped it there, and then the other chorus, and then just kind of kept it out through the rest of the song. All right, so this was a little longer than I wanted, which is why I'm breaking these up in different parts, but that's part one. Part two, like I said, is going to be on vocal delays. It'll probably be a little bit quicker, and then part three will probably be more on automating for some interesting effects. So thanks for watching, everybody. If you have any questions or comments, please leave them below. You can send me an email at adam@adambarber.net. And if you liked the video, give me a thumbs up. If you didn't, give me a thumbs down. And thanks for watching.